Hi everyone. Welcome to another edition in the Creative Ventures video series, Over Coffee. So I got invited to do a podcast based on the release of our latest program called Little Lessons, Small Ideas with Big Results. And at the very beginning of the podcast, the host asked me, where do my ideas come from? And that question kind of hijacked the rest of the podcast as we started talking about, in general, where do ideas come from? Something I've spoken about a number of times, because it's amazing to me that the human mind that gave us the Slinky could also give us an MRI machine. You see, ideas have a biological home. It's the frontal cortex of the brain where associative thinking comes from. We don't get many real eureka moments, things like the nuclear bomb of an inspiration or an epiphany that happens to us. In fact, the entire idea of a eureka moment, which comes from the ancient Greek eureka, which basically means I found it, comes from Archimedes and the Archimedean principle. Now, the Archimedean principle states that the amount of water displaced by an object placed in the water, they basically have an equal volume. And that was a supposed eureka moment from the father of mathematics, Archimedes. But me, I'm an associative thinker. That frontal cortex is a big player for me. It's kind of because I'm a this leads to that kind of idea person, right? I cobble stuff together. Ideas kind of, for me, are a birth of a network of things that happen, a cultivation of interesting things. You see, if you go back to great inventions, I'll give you just two quick examples of how this form of idea development, this associative thinking, this grouping of disparate ideas until they become one thing, happens. So let's start with Edison. Now, Edison's famous for the light bulb. Now, Edison really didn't invent the light bulb. The light bulb had been around since the early 19th century. It just didn't work worth a damn. And so Edison played with that existing model. And the existing model needed a filament. And that's kind of where most of Edison's work came from. He improved an existing idea, cobbled together something from something that already existed. Now you can take Galileo in the same way. The first telescopes were patented in the Netherlands in about 1608. And they were just like this extension element of the ability to see something farther away. And the Netherlands invention fascinated Galileo, and in 1608 he got one, took it back, and by 1609 he had reconstructed it, changed the concave glass elements to give it a greater distance. In a year after that, in 1610, he used this cobbled together telescope to discover the 4 largest moons of Jupiter, the Galilean moons. So like Edison, Galileo, and a little bit like me, we just cobble stuff together from things that we've noticed, things that we've collected. So here's the bottom line that we got to when we were talking about the podcast. And it was that if you want more ideas, where do they come from? Well, you just need to expose yourself to more stuff. Your percentages of having a eureka moment are very slim, but your percentages of having an idea from the associative method of cobbling together ideas are really high. So expose yourself to stuff. Read more. Notice more. Write something down. Think about it. See, the development of an idea isn't magic. It's human. And I hope you enjoyed this issue of Over Coffee, and I'm excited about next month seeing you all again.